finding angles for your pitches. Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl Lemon PR. We are a public relations agency based in the UK, USA, as well as Uganda, and serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 5 of 39 days of public relations training, we're here to talk about finding angles for your pitches. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 11 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. So look, fundamentally, when we're thinking about angles, in the previous video, we did speak about which industries to go after PR in. So let's say now, as an example, that you've determined that you want to go for, as an example, entrepreneurship, okay? Let's say that entrepreneurship is the subject of the day. So I'm just going to really identify a couple of areas that really make sense when it comes to finding angles for your pitches by giving you examples of, what ultimately would make sense in my view. So you need to really list out your accolades. So accolades that make you an expert in this space, okay? So generally speaking, and the typical ones are, revenue, headcount, growth, niche expertise, some new tool or technology, experience, notable clients. So basically, these are areas that would help. For example, in the space of entrepreneurship, you have the appearance of someone who's an expert speaker. Revenue, we make X million as an example. Headcount, we have, so in Pearl Lemon instance, we do between 1 to 2 million, between 1 to 1.5. So we talk about that as revenue. Headcount, we'd say there's 55 to 60 people, including our partners. Growth, we talk about the growth of our revenue over time. So we've done that over 4 years, which isn't really, it's probably pretty ordinary by some measures, and it's pretty fantastic by others. So there's always a space for where and what you're talking about as an example, certainly at the time of recording. Then you talk about, for example, growth also in the new industry. So with our PR business, we went from 0 to 6 figures in 4 months. So that would be more explosive as an example, thus they're counting for growth. Then you look at niche. So, the niche would be public relations, and finding public relations firms to talk about press in general might be something that's quite interesting. Expertise would relate to anything that accounts towards your niche, public relations, or your industry, let's say recruitment, and your, expertise in that niche. If you're doing something that's some kind of new tool or technology, then that would also pin you down as a little bit of an expert, and therefore perhaps able to speak about new tools or trends in the space, if you see what I mean, as related to entrepreneurship. Then you've got your general experience in the industry, so 20 years, 30 years, 5 years, whatever it might be, and then just notable clients that you've won that or that you work with. So, we've worked with Tesla. We haven't worked with Tesla, but as an example of clients that you've worked with. So looking at all of these elements, it's quite then easy. I say easy, but you can begin to build up a bit of a, let's call it bio, in terms of what angles that you can use even from the entrepreneurial perspective, okay? Because there's all of these areas that would constitute how you qualify as an entrepreneur. Does that make sense when you think about all of these areas? There's probably more. This isn't exhaustive, but this is I beg your pardon. This is in the space of this is in the space of let's do it again here. So this is in the space of entrepreneurship. Okay, so then you could probably do the same thing for example, any niche. So what about recruitment? Let's have a go at something that's different. So let's just say we want to get into recruitment publications. So if you apply the same model, revenue, headcount, niche expertise, some new tool or technology, but just through a recruitment filter, so that might be headcount, that might be hiring, that might be firing, that might be training, that might be international team, that might be office, work from home. Do you see that now there begins to be like different elements and angles that we could potentially look at using to account for what makes you expert in the recruitment niche now? So it's about basically building your little list. I say little list, building an awesome list of the potential angles that make sense for the relevant niches that you've determined that you want to speak in. And then from there, it's powerful, or you can build up powerful bios to reflect the fact that you are an expert in that niche. So this is really a great way to, and I'm going to rename this, if I'm being honest. I'm going to let me exit this. I'm going to rename this Finding Bios, the power of bios, building expert bios for your pitches, because really that's what we're talking about here. That, you know, what's your bio, what's your biography, what is it that makes you an expert in this niche, and how is it that you can demonstrate that? And those areas, if you go back and rewind the video, are going to be the way that you can put together ultimately bios for anyone in any niche, and therefore use that as the context for why you're reaching out to this journalist about this particular piece. So there you have it, building expert bios for your pitch.